I have the honor today of having my senior, Mimi. Her second name is beautiful and I do not want to butcher it, so allow me to introduce her in the best way I thought possible. She had her own bio, but I'm creating my own tradition of introducing my seniors. So I will add the touch of the energy I walked in with and felt, but I'll read what I wrote at the beginning. That's okay with you?
Go for it.
Perfect. So Mimi Aldrin is a distinguished Kenyan legal professional and the managing partner of Amulioto and Company Advocates, a reputable law firm based in Nairobi. With a strong foundation in legal practice, she has built a career marked by leadership, integrity, and a commitment to justice. Beyond her legal endeavors, Mimi is known for her multifaceted personality, describing herself as an omnivore. She seamlessly navigates both extroverted and introverted spaces, bringing her unique balance to her professional and personal interactions. Her Instagram handle, do I have permission to mention it?
Yeah, go for it.
Perfect. At Gentle Spirit reflects her calm and thoughtful demeanor, resonating with her approach to both life and work. Mimi's influence extends into media and public discourse. She has been featured on platforms such as Elevate TV's Kenya Monday Morning Digest, where she shares insights on legal matters and societal issues, demonstrating her role as a thought leader in the community. Note, not influencer, but thought leader. We will come and revisit the meaning behind both. A proud Kenyan and a woman of faith. Yes, I mentioned it.
Hallelujah.
Mimi Aldrin embodies the qualities of a dedicated advocate and a compassionate individual. Her contributions to the legal field and her active engagement in public conversations continues to inspire many beyond Kenya and within Kenya, including myself. Oh. So today, when I walked in, just something I need to mention. So senior George Okenya, our host, calls me and tells me, you're moderating by force. So I tell him I have jeans on and he's like, you just come to my office, you'll see what the main person has on. And I'm so curious. So I walk in, I find mom jeans with something going on, and you'll see her shortly if you're not seeing her already. Then she has some beautiful hoops, an amazing fiery personality, and you can imagine how I was just at home, I was like, oh, finally. Not the typical, very male-dominated kind of situation, and also just the energy and the aura that she brings to the room. And that is why she's perfect for the topic that we're discussing today, which is work-life balance. Right. Because it's a Friday, and lawyers don't need to be stiff and wear suits on a Friday.
100%.
And she embodies the same. So with all the many things I've said, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce Mimi Aldrin to you.
Shangwe na vigelegele. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's an honor to be here. It's lovely to meet you. I literally was feeling the good vibes from when we came in, when I prayed. I knew this is gonna go well.
Oh wow.
And also because it's a topic that is discussed but not discussed, in the sense that there's so much to be said and so much to learn, and yet the platforms discussing this topic are not that many. People couch it as mental health. But what beyond mental health, how do I balance so that now I'm not getting into the space of mentioning mental health?
Yes.
So it's amazing to be here.
So even before I let you run with your session, I just have one question.
Yeah.
There's so much about you. So there's the bit where you're the legal professional, you do a lot of podcasting, you're in the media space, and you also live your life how you want to live your life and how you choose to live it. But what's the one thing that people don't really know about you?
Okay, they know I love God, but I think it throws people off because of the way I dress.
Okay.
I think there's this whole people expecting, like, if you say you serve God, that you'll be dressed a certain way.
Okay.
Now this certain way is what, like, inanichanganya, because I'm like, what do you mean? You know, I love Jesus with everything I've got. I involved George's people in prayer twice before this started, because I believe that he who began good work in you is faithful to see to completion. Absolutely. So you start with God. He will not just wait for you at the end. He will see you through everything in between. So my love for God is beyond everything, and I love family. I love my family. I love my people. Shout out to my people.
And just to mention, among the first target audience, not even target audience, among the first people to log in was actually her farm, which was quite impressive because it's not everyone who does that, and it's also not everyone who has such values entrenched, especially whether it's in your business or it's just within your value system and it can be seen. So kudos to that.
Thank you.
So with your permission, I want you to run your session peacefully. I will return during the Q&A session, but I think it's important they now face you and see you directly. Meanwhile, on the back end, I'll collect the quick Q&A and I'll be
Okay.
back shortly.
All right.
Perfect.
Okay. So what is work-life balance? Let's start with from the perspective of the legal profession, right? I had a conversation earlier with an associate at a friend's law firm, just downstairs in this building, and she was telling me about the challenges that they're facing, particularly as Gen Zs, with regard to work-life balance. Just getting into the profession and trying to figure out when does work stop, when does life start. You have demanding clients. You don't have time for yourself, you don't have time for family, you don't have time for friends. And I was just telling her that you've got to be very intentional about the time that you're making for everything. There's a time and a season for everything. That's what Ecclesiastes says. So you've got to be intentional. I particularly have this thing of telling clients what it is about my 8 to 5. And then the longer the client relationship I have, then it's no longer 8 to 5 per se, but we have a thing about mutual respect with clients. So I can pick a client call at 6 p.m. if the client is, we've had a longer client relationship, right? So if I've purposed to have a lunchtime meeting with a friend and the client calls me, I can actually let the client know that I'm held up and I can return their call at a later time. That's balancing it out, right? You can't always be working. I remember when I was younger, before I started working, my mom told me about someone who died in their office and how this person was quickly replaced. Not even a week had gone by. So are you willing to die for this job just because you don't have a work-life balance? And when you die, have you thought about what people are going to say? They were always at work. Where were they always at work? Were you building relationships with your friends? Were you building relationships with your family? If you have children, are you building relationships with your children? If you needed money right now, a quick, someone to sort you out quickly, right? Who would you call, who would bail you out, and yet you've not built solid relationships with people? Just think about such things when you're thinking about your work-life balance. And work-life balance is not just your friendships. It's your spiritual life. It's your health. So I was giving this young lady an example of like how I start my day. So I wake up in the morning and I take water. Water is life. I mean, it's literally, it's been there from before, like during creation, right? So take water because that also helps you to balance yourself, balance your health, right? Because health first, it's you first. Even in a plane, they say put the mask on you, then put it on other people, right? So I take water, I read my Bible, and I pray. Why? Because I'm building my body, building my mind, building my spirit before I start my day. I'm only as good to others as I am to myself. Then I do some stretches. Now look here, I'm not trying to be like those guys who are doing workouts like John Cena type workouts, right? I don't do those things, but kudos to you if you do. Workout, stretches, and then I go about my routine for the morning and I get to work. Do I pick client calls at that time? No. Why? That's me time. So what I do, my phone is on do not disturb until 8 a.m. Because the guys that I put on my favorites are the only people who can call me at that time. Why? Because those are the people I've prioritized to be able to contact me early in the morning. So before my day starts, like in the office, my family are the ones who can reach out to me at that time. So a client will text me, I'll see the message, but I will respond to that client as and when I deem fit to start my official day. So I have mapped out a very clear way of how I'm going to do things. So I get to the office and I sit and I do a prayer because guess what? I will start with God all the time. Then I will get into my day. So I'll start with my emails. I'll do, if I have court, I'll do court. Then I'll do my emails. And I will do it on priority basis. Priority being paying clients first. Listen, I don't work for free unless I've decided that I'm doing a matter in that manner. So if the person is not a paying client, I cannot prioritize them as one who's already paid, right? Because the one who's already paid is expecting a service. We're in a service industry. So I will prioritize it that way, reach out to those clients, give the feedback. I've also timed myself. So I've diarized things also. And because I'm also forgetful, I've turned one of my staff in the office, I've turned my wall. I do notes on the wall. I do stick notes, like I forget things sometimes. So I'll have stick notes all over the place. I don't keep a diary anymore. I don't see the point. But if you do, this could be a hack for you. So I write down all the tasks that I have for the day or the week. Then now I go about it. Now what happens in a lawyer's life is you have a working client or you have a client who, a working client being let's say a new client, right? And then you have the client who comes in impromptu. who is an existing client, or a client who wants to have a virtual meeting, let's say a quick WhatsApp call or a phone call, and that interrupts what you've planned out for the day. So when I come back to my board, I'm like, okay, so this didn't happen. So I circle and I put in a new date in red, like this needs to be done by this date. Of course, this is how we get overtaken by events and then we get stressed, right? So what do? You plan out. Fine, you have your strict 8 to 5 rule, but if you know things have deadlines, let's say you have submissions that need to be filed by a certain time, you can push yourself extra and reschedule certain things. So what happens is my weekend remains completely untouched by client work. Completely, like I won't even open my laptop. But during that weekend, I'll look for people. That's also something that helps you balance yourself. Don't always sit by yourself, and don't always sit around people discussing work, even after work. So you see that boss that pissed you off because of the file that you didn't handle properly. Now you carry that into your 6 o'clock tea or coffee or drinks with your friends in the profession, discussing your bosses till 9 p.m. Then at 9 p.m. remember there's an email you need to handle. So you've not actually balanced anything out. You're still working. So for me, if I'm out of work, literally I shut it off. I've just remembered another question this young lady asked me about emotions, like carrying emotions. So in the midst of all of that, you're still carrying the emotion of the file. So particularly for like family law practitioners like myself, you find yourself carrying the emotion of a children's matter or a divorce. No, I don't do that. That's not my problem. That is their problem. I was not part of the takeoff. I will not be part of the turbulence or the landing. It has nothing to do with me except the fact that I'm here for the facts, the law, and the fees. So as long as I'm getting all three, that's where it ends. I literally leave my personal feelings in my phone, in my house, and I carry client matters, not client feelings. And if a client has more feelings than they want me to carry, I refer them to someone who is trained. Look, we went to law school, we didn't go to med school. So I'm not going to purport to be a psychiatrist, and I can't even carry all that weight. And it's carrying that weight that also makes you not have a good work-life balance. So you can't listen to your client, and then when they start weeping, you give them tissue, and then you also pull in tissue to also sniff your nose. It doesn't work that way. That's being a wuss, sorry to say. So you've got to be tough. Can you imagine being in a suit that's really nice and expensive, and you're there sniffing your nose with your client? It makes no sense. Because then after work, you're there looking at your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend with suspicion because someone was cheating in the matter you were handling, and therefore the signs are similar. So you start now, like, why are you carrying that into, your personal business or your personal life? So those are some of the things that make me stronger. And I also say that these things take time. So it's like riding a bike. You learn it with time and with experience. You fall a few times, you carry a client's emotions for a while, you get angry with a client, you explode a few times because you're still learning how to balance your emotions in the process of balancing your client matters, schedules, timelines that have not been met. Maybe you appeared before a judicial officer whose temperament was also off, and therefore that also impacted your day. Maybe your spouse had a fight with you over socks in the morning, and therefore you've carried that into work as well. Your kids are there, they're unwell, you have to rush out of the office, your schedule is completely off, you fall sick yourself. So you're trying to see how to balance your week, and it's not working. When you're not able to manage your emotions that way, then also your work-life balance is completely thrown off. So what you need to also learn is to give yourself grace.